Hello guys, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Catherine and welcome if you are new. I post videos about languages, traveling, and sometimes books that I read or want to read, and today is one of those videos. I am going to be talking about 23 books I really want to read in 2023. These are all going to be backlist books, and in 2023 I set my Goodreads challenge for 50 books, and if I manage to read all of these 23 books from this video, it's going to be more than I read in 2022. 2022 was my worst reading year so far since 2013, I would say. I only read 22 books last year and I want to change it this year. So here are the 23 books that I really want to read, and I'm not going to go deep into each and every book. I don't know a lot about every book. I know something about some of these books, but mostly I really like going into the books not knowing much, and I just like to be surprised, and I just read books that are hyped or someone recommends to me or I saw on YouTube, or it just like the cover seems pretty, or yeah, I read the synopsis but then I forget about it, and by the time I get to read the book I don't remember anything. Before we get into the video, don't forget to subscribe and like this video and hit that bell for notifications, and yeah, let's go. The first book that I want to talk about is The Edge of Summer by Erica George. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know that this book has been on many TBR Circus videos, but I still haven't read it, and I finally want to do it in 2023. I know that there were two friends and one of the friends dies and the other one decides to fulfill their both dream of going to some marine biology center to save dolphins or some other sea creatures, and yeah, the cover seems pretty and the story seems really interesting, so I really want to read this book. The next one is Your Life Has Been Delayed by Michelle I. Mason. This has been on my TBR as well, and this is basically a story about some plane that kind of like gets stuck, and once they, I don't know, I think it's stuck for 30 years, and once they land it's like 30 years later, or like it's just really weird. It's, I don't know, but I've heard some really good things about it, so I also really want to read it. The next book is Heart and Soul by Jen Frederick. This, as you can see from the title, is set in Seoul, and basically I think this is a story about a girl who travels to Seoul to find who she is or something like that. I might be completely wrong. As I said, I don't know a lot about these books, so yeah, like just don't call me on that. I really don't know, but I really want to read this book. I've been eyeing it for a while, ever since it came out a few years back, and I just haven't gotten around to reading it, and in 2023 I want to finally do it. The next book is another one that's been on my TBR Circus for a while, and that's More Than Just a Pretty Face by Saeed M. Mansood, and I've heard some amazing things about it. Nobody says anything bad about this book. I honestly have no clue what this book is about, but it's pretty short and I am just dying to read it. I've been dying to read it for a few years now. The next book is Girls Burn Brighter by Shobha Rao. This has been on my TBR for so many years. I remember I made a video about 5-star predictions, and this was on the video, and I still haven't read it. Yes, I still haven't read it. So this is basically a story about two Indian girls, and they are friends, and then one of them moves to America, and then once they grow up, I think the other one sets on a journey to find her friend and like a reunion and stuff like that. I've heard amazing things about it. I just really need to read this book. Another one that's been on my TBR for a while is A Pho Love Story by Lone Le. I suppose this is something to do with American Vietnamese culture, and when I visited Vietnam I absolutely loved it, and I really want to read more about characters with Vietnamese background, and I think this book is going to be really funny and really romantic, really cute, so I don't know why I still haven't read it. The next book that I am just dying to get to is Zyla and Kai by Christina Forrest. I've read one other Christina Forrest book and I absolutely loved it. I adored that book, and and I don't know why I haven't read this one yet. It was on my TBR for last year, and it's on my TBR for 2023 as well, and I don't know, I've heard amazing things about it, and I love Christina Forrest, as I said, so we need to do this. We need to read this book. The next one is The Museum of Broken Things by Lauren Draper. Again, I don't know what to say about this book. I've had it on my TBR for a while, and I don't know much about this book other than it has to do something with books, and I love books, as you know, as you can see from the background, and I don't know, I will be reading this book hopefully. The next one is The Signs and Wonders of Tuna Rashad by Natasha Dean, and this hasn't been on my TBR for a while, but I love the cover and the title seems cool, and I honestly don't know anything about this story, but I will be reading it. I will be reading it this year. The next one is The Dead in the Dark by Courtney Gold. This honestly is not something that I read very often. I think this is something like thriller, mystery, crime, something like that. But yeah, I don't tend to read those too much. I like them, but as I said, I don't read them very often. I'm more likely to pick up a romance book than a thriller or a mystery thriller, and this just seems very cool. The next one is Sisters of Night and Fog by Erica Roebuck, and this is a historical fiction, and I love historical fiction. I don't read it as much as I used to in like 2015, 2016, but I really enjoy historical fiction, and I especially enjoy World War II stories, and so I think this is also something to do with World War II. Yeah, I will be reading this book in 2023, hopefully. The next one is Refugee by Alan Gratz. Again, this was on my 5-star predictions for 2020, I think, and this is a story about a boy who flees Syria, I think, and he like tries to cross the ocean by boat. I might be completely wrong. I really want to read this book, and I actually have this book in Spanish, so I might read this book in Spanish. I am not sure, but most likely I'm gonna read it in English, so yeah. The next book that I want to read is Of Curses and Kisses by Sandhya Menon. This is a book that I think this is the only Sandhya Menon book that I haven't read. I want to read it. I wanted to read it in 2021, I wanted to read it in 2022, and now I want to read it in 2023. This is about boarding school. This is about some magical curses and something like that, and I enjoy boarding schools. I enjoy, I don't know, you have to break the curse and stuff like that. It's just really interesting. It's always really interesting, and I might read it this year. Hopefully I will. The next one is More Than Words by Jill Santopolo. Just look at this cover. I mean, this cover is everything, and if this cover doesn't make you want to read this book, I don't know what will. But this again is a story about Muslim girl, I think. At least that's what I remember. My brain is just not working today. The next one is The Boy Most Likely To by Huntley Fitzpatrick. Again, I've been eyeing this book for a while, especially because I read the other 2 books by this author and I absolutely loved them. I loved My Life Next Door and then also What I Thought Was True, and I really liked those books, and I don't know why I haven't read The Boy Most Likely To. So this year it's going to change. The next one is Love from A to Z by S.K. Ali, and based on the cover, I suppose that this is something to do with travel, which I also love, and I love the trope of book characters going on a trip and meeting and falling in love. I just love that so much. That's so wholesome and so beautiful, and having adventures together, that's just amazing. And so again, this book has been on my TBR for many years, and now finally I really want to read it in the next couple of months. Another one that's by one of my favorite authors is Gilded by Marissa Meyer. I think I've only read Cinder series by her, and I've actually reread Cinder and Scarlet, and I absolutely love that series. I want to reread Cress and Winter as well, but they are so big, and I don't know if I'll ever get to rereading Winter because that's like 800 pages. The next one is Fame, Faith, and the First Kiss by Casey West, and this is the only Casey West book that I haven't read that's out, except for Pivot Midpoint series. I haven't read that, but I've read all of her other romance books and I absolutely love her. She is one of my favorite authors and she is actually really great if you are still learning English and you're not so good, you're not advanced. Her books are so easy to read and so quick and so fast-paced. I've reread a bunch of her books and my favorites are By Your Side, The Fill-In Boyfriend, On the Fence. Like, I really enjoy all her books and I don't know what's stopping me read her books, but I've realized in the past that I usually tend to read one Casey West book per year, even though I love her so much. You would think I would read her all the time, but I don't. I don't know why. So maybe Fame, Faith, and First Kiss will be the book for 2023, even though I hope I will get my hands onto her newest books that come out this year, so we will see. The next one is A Taste for Love by Jennifer Yen. The next one is The Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa, and actually I started reading this book last year, but I never got around to finishing it. I don't know why. Thanks, reading slump again, because I read one of her other books in the past. I think it was called The Worst Best Man, and I absolutely loved that book. That book was hilarious, and I actually listened to it on audiobook, so I would like to listen to this one on audiobook as well. I don't know when I get to read that, but I would love to do that because Mia Sosa just writes the funniest, the quickest stories ever. I highly recommend The Worst Best Man. I don't know how Wedding Crasher will go, but we will see if I finish it this year. The next one is All Our Worst Ideas by Vicky Skinner. I read one of her other books, How to Breathe Underwater, and I absolutely loved it. It was my favorite book of 2019, I think, or 2020. It was absolutely phenomenal, and when she came out with this book, I was like, I am gonna read it as soon as possible. And now it's been a few years and I haven't read it yet, and I am just absolutely dying to get to this book. And yeah, I hope to do it this year in the next couple of months. I remember her first book being very quick and fast-paced, and so I suppose this one is going to be quick as well. Another book that's been on my TBR for many years now, and it was on my 5-star predictions for 2020, and that is Orphan Monsters Pie by Matt Colleen. Again, another historical fiction. This is a story about a girl who integrates into Nazi girl boarding school. So historical fiction, a boarding school, a historical fiction about World War II, some spy activities. I don't know. It sounds so awesome, and I've actually started reading it in the past, but I don't know why I didn't really enjoy the first chapter, so I stopped reading it. But this year I want to push through and see if I actually like the story. If I don't like it, I will actually DNF it, but hopefully, fingers crossed, I love it because it sounds right up my alley. And the last book for today, I hope I didn't miss any, is Love Boat Taipei by Abigail Hung Weng, and this has been on my TBR for a very long time as well. This is set in Taipei, and I know there is 1 or 2 other books in the series already, and I still haven't read the first one. I don't know what's wrong with me, but hopefully I get to read all of these books, and I've actually created a chart, and as I read these books I will cross them off, and in June hopefully I can make an update video and we can talk about what books I have read from this list, what books I haven't read, and how I like them or didn't like them, or do I recommend them. Yeah, comment down below if you have read any of these books, how did you like them, do you plan on reading any of these books, and comment down below what are your plans for 2023. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you very soon. Bye!